Chapter 2, The Raven and the Sword. Several years ago, before Ella's story began, after a hard day's travel, you follow the flickering light of flame to where a ragged man sits hunched over a small campfire. "Please, sir, might you have any food to spare?" "Let me see." You pause before the fire, rustle through your pack at your side, finding a wineskin and a loaf of bread. All of it. The man's eyes go wide as he accepts the loaf and the wineskin from your hands with a sparkle in his eyes. "You have an exceedingly kind heart, dear sir. My father raised me to always help those in need, as one day we will also may rely on the kindness of strangers." "Please, it's it. Warm your bones by my fire." "I think I will. Thank you." You take a seat on the log across from the man, who takes a swig of the wine, looking you up and down. You look weary, traveler. What brings you to the edge of the Fey Woods on this moonless night?" "I'm on what you might call a bit of a quest." "A quest, you say? You're dashing, like a gallant knight of old. And what is it that you seek?" "Legends speak of an ancient spell that can make a man immortal." "These woods are dangerous, young man. Certainly no place for a kind-hearted youth, no matter how important your bounty. Surely you've also heard the legend of these Fey Woods in which you travel?" "The woods are no worse than where I came from." "Oh, and where is it that you are from, young man?" You shrug and point in the direction from whence you came. "That way." The tattered man laughs and lets the matter drop. "Perhaps I can help you, as you have helped me, especially as you were generous enough to hand over your last bit of bread to a mere stranger." As the man speaks, the shadows dancing on his face seem to change somehow. His face looks less gaunt than before, his gnarled hands less feeble. "How is it that you could help me?" The old man's eyes bore into you, an eerie curiosity lurking behind the mirthful face. "What boon would you ask from one of the Fae?" For a moment, there's no sound but the crackle of wood burning between you. The smoky air feels heavy. You point to a dirty bundle of cloth at the man's feet. "That." "What?" "The boon. I'm owed. I claim it." You would take a poor man's only possessions. I could give you riches, charms, wonders, that a mortal like you could only dream." "I know what it is you carry. Give it to me." Something hard flashes in the beggar's eyes. He reaches for a hidden blade inside his rags, but you're faster. You grab the bundle, rip it open to reveal an ancient, brutal blade of pure iron. "No, you cannot!" The man's cry cuts short as you run him through. The deceptive glamour falls away to reveal a terrified elder Fae. He shakes and twists in agony, iron sizzling his flesh, as understanding dawns too late in his eyes. "What do you want with that cursed thing?" You pull the blade free, and the old face slumps to the ground, eyes already glazing over in death. "To cut the sun and moon from the sky." Present day. Frightened murmurs flutter across the rubble. Strewn courtyards, a menacing stranger stares at Kieran down the length of his blade. That sword had cut straight through the stone, just like... Your stomach lurches as you remember another wall of stone impossibly sliced away to rain ruin on the unsuspecting carriages below. "You're the one who attacked us. You carved the message into the mountain." "Was it a threat?" "I don't know what you're planning, but it won't succeed. We'll stop you." "Even if you stop me, you cannot stop the eclipse. We are too many and too angry." The man lets out a sharp whistle. A dozen figures emerge from the shadowy woods behind him, clutching simple weapons and glaring at the Fae with pure hatred. "Why do you hate us?" Question mark. "Humans?" "The courts have subjugated this land and its people for far too long. No one is free so long as they hold the sources of magic. You feel Kieran stiffen beside you and turn in time to see him and Longclaw exchange a grim look. You are a brazen fool to challenge the combined power of the fake courts. You should leave here before someone gets hurt. Leave? I think not. One of your guests shoves to the ground, rage twisting her delicate features as she conjures a cruel-looking wisp out of spilled wine. I nearly died in that avalanche. This mongrel isn't going anywhere until I'm through with him. You're not the only one here with a score to settle, Remy. A stocky human at his side steps forward, knocking an arrow to their bow. Behind him, a handful of others do the same. Much obliged, Jack. The face scoffs, hands sparking with magic as the human archers take aim, but worrisome dread starts to swell in the pit of your stomach. Kieran, something isn't right here. You've got to stop the archers. Gladly. Dark blades, like scraps of the night sky, dart from his fingertips, wounding several of the human archers before they can fire. But one arrow still flies true, striking a Fae in the shoulder. Blood sizzles as the Fae screams and collapses in agony. Her companion rushes to her side, but their magic has no effect on the wound. Iron. Their weapons are made from iron. Attack! Panic erupts among the remaining party guests as Eclipse fighters charge into the courtyard. Iron-bladed swords and axes gleaming dully in the moonlight. Sir Monty, protect Ella. With my life. Kieran, what are you... With a surge of power you can almost taste, a pair of great wings unfurls from Kieran's back, his eyes turning black as obsidian. He surges into the fray, a whirlwind of flashing feathers and claws. Before you can see more, Sir Montgomery takes you by the arm and steers you away. Wait, we have to help them. You cannot help if you're killed, Your Grace. We must find another way to pardon me a moment. His sword flashes like silver lightning, bearing a blow from a rough iron axe. The attacker snarls, yellow sparks crackling in their eyes. Traitor, you'll burn with your precious cords. Wait, what? Wow, they're reusing this character already a lot. That one looks Fae, but they're holding iron. What's going on? Your thoughts are interrupted by a loud string of curses, intersped with outraged twittering.
Bad human, stupid human. Iron is the highest insult. You pay for your crimes. King of birds gives no quarter.
Leaf, watch out! The human runs across your path, ducking his head as Leaf ferociously pecks at his face.
No rude human attack Court of Ella. Friend of Leaf, not under the watch of King of Birds.
In a blink, they're gone, swallowed in the mass of violence. Everywhere you look, crowds of Fae are being overwhelmed by the small Eclipse force and their iron armaments. Their magic can't touch anything made of iron. There must be some way to work around that. You spot Longclaw nearby, an attacker, holding her at bay with a spear while blocking her magical attacks with an iron shield. Longclaw, use your magic to trip her. Longclaw points at the ground beneath her opponent's feet, and the grassy soil suddenly crumples beneath her. She stumbles, dropping her spear. She flails for balance. Longclaw surges forward, neatly stunning the woman with a blow with her huge paw. Goodness, but that was a clever idea. We must tell the others. With the Longclaw watching your back, you run from one harried group of Fae to the next, shouting to be heard over the chaos. Use your magic on the ground, the trees, anything solid. Their iron only destroys the magic itself. Interesting. So, the Vidost. Holding under flicks their wrist, and a heavy branch drops from a tree, pinning two Eclipse fighters to the ground. Why does it look like an orc? Rest of the party, guests catch on. Small band of Eclipse fighters starts to buckle on an onslaught of thrown rocks, branches, and broken furniture. It's working. Jack, what do we do? We retreat for now. Their reckoning will come. Listen, you were defeated by rocks and branches. Triumphant cries fill the courtyard as the attackers start to retreat. Elated, you watch them flee through the hole in a palace wall. Then, gasp as Kieran streaks after them with a shadow like a shadowy comet. Jack, stand and face me, you coward! You sprint after Kieran, stumbling over chunks of broken wall and in the Fey forest. But you're too slow. You see it as if in slow motion the snarling Jack whirls on Kieran, bringing the terrible sword down like an executioner's axe. No! Kieran catches the hilt in his hand at the last second, snarling with pain as the iron sears his flesh. Go for Kieran the blade. Closing the gap, you grab hold of the iron sword hilt, adding your strength to Kieran's. You'll run. I won't. You only tighten your grip as Kieran's palms sizzle against the iron. He grits his teeth and roars, shoving the blade free and sending Jack stumbling backward. The iron didn't burn you. You're human. Do I look fey to you? You're defending this creature against your own kind. Yes, because I love him. You're just another lost mortal whose mind is enslaved by their wicked magic. Kieran growls with pain beside you. No, her mind is her own. But my heart is Kieran's. And if you hurt her, I will bring down upon you every bane and horror my wicked magics can muster. His voice is labored, feral, as magic flickers cold, vicious, seething you in flames of shadow. We've done nothing to you. Leave us be. Jack, we have to go. Jack nods, but doesn't take his eyes off you as he backs away, and the deep, twisting shadows of the forest begin to swallow him. Fool, you are hardly the first human to fall prey to their tricks. You're nothing to them, just a pawn, a plaything. You think he won't grow tired of you when your beauty fades, your mind fails. Fae are loyal to no one but themselves. No, that's not... But he's already gone. In the wake of the attack, the party decorations are shoved aside as the ballroom becomes a makeshift infirmary for your injured guests. It appears no one was fatally injured. We can at least be thankful for that much. You wipe sweat and grime off from your brow, Oleander kneeling beside one of the wounded, as not a hair out of place. It's no use. These iron-born wounds will not heal with magic. Even infusing bandages with magic salve seems to do no good. I guess we're doing this the old-fashioned way. Selma arrives bearing an armload of clean sheets, kitchen towels, which waiting Longclaw slices cleanly into bandages with her claws.
It's not quite as quick without magic, but I suppose it will have to do.
Your Grace, we're running out of yarrow leaves to help stop the bleeding. There should be more in a jar in the pantry. If not, there's plenty growing in the gardens. And we'll need something to keep the wounds from festering, ease inflammation and fever. Keep the wounds from festering. A feverfew will help, and some rose honey if we have it. Selma nods and rushes off again. Oleander lifts a questioning brow at you. You maintain a collection of healing herbs and tonics. How quaint. Well, clearly it's serving a purpose now. Mortals must find ways to survive without magic. It's come in handy more than once. Your Highness, please. Your hands. I told you leave me be. Kieran stalks over to you, holding his scorched palms out of flustered Sylvia's reach. My love, why won't you let her help you? These wounds are nothing. Go. There are others who need far more tending than I. Sylvia reaches out once more with bandages, but he brushes them away dismissively with a gust of magic. The distressed Sylvia looks to you imploringly. Please, Your Grace, will you help His Highness see reason? Spend an intimate moment with Kieran, Diamond Joyce. Kieran, give me your hands. It's alright, Sylvia. I'll take care of it myself. She nods and hurries off. Kieran scowls as you draw him further into your ballroom-turned-infirmary. You'll take care of me, will you? Just sit down. You push Kieran's shoulders until he sits glowering and stoic. This is a mixture of comfrey and calendula that I use to make when I burn myself cooking. I even found something called aloe at the night market that's meant to cool burns. They said it was from a desert beyond the sea. But when you cautiously dab salve on his wounds, he hisses, "I'm sorry, it looks painful." "It's nothing, I told you. Your time is better spent elsewhere." Kieran, you need to remember you're not invincible. I know you spent 100 years being invincible, but you're still acting like you can't be killed. I know only too well how vulnerable I am. I am the only thing standing between my court, you, and annihilation. He scowls into the distance, grumbling. I cannot show weakness, not now. You can also stop acting like so reckless and careless with your health. I need you. He's silent as you carefully wind a cloth bandage around his hand. When you're done, he squeezes your fingers. And I need to keep you safe. But trying to do everything alone is setting yourself up for failure. I have long carried the weight of my court alone. But you aren't alone anymore. He falls silent again as you finish dressing and binding his other hand, then presses a gentle kiss to the bandage. Kieran startles. What was that for? Oh, it's just a necessary part of the healing process. Raises his brows dubiously. I'm beginning to recognize when you lie to me. Oh, it's nice to know that I'm teaching you something. He stands and surprises you with a gentle kiss. Thank you, sweet Ella. I know I make a wretched patient. Let me make amends by helping with the others. He follows you to the first sickbed, where Faye is dramatically moaning and thrashing. It burns, I'm dying. You're not dying, you just have a few cuts. Here's the salve, should help. Oh, such a terrible stench. Do you not have anything more pleasant? I'm sorry, valerian and yarrow do smell rather strongly, but... I simply cannot bear it. No, thank you. You may take your malodorous salve to someone with a less discerning nose. This will help you heal. Unless you'd rather let it rot. Rot? What is that? Well, if you don't treat them quickly, wounds can go bad. First, the wound will become hot, red, terribly painful. You'll grow feverish, insensible. Then the wound turns black or even green. Stinks, even worse than the salve. And then what? Then you can die. You die. You must use the salve at once. Well, that's what I thought. Idiot. As you finish dressing the first patient, some yelling from across the room attracts your attention. You and Kieran rush over. No, don't touch me. Very frustrated, Oleander pauses in their attempt to bandage a deep gash across Asher's ribs. You really must sit still. I cannot possibly dress your wound with you thrashing about as you are. Your awful bandages hurts worse than the horrible cut. Why can't you use magic? God, is all the Fae this stupid? Ella, tell them to use magic. Oleander sighs deeply and lifts their hands to the wound. Soft swirls of reddish light emanate from their palms, but the glittering tendrils stop short of the wound as if hitting an invisible wall. For the third time, second demonstration. Iron wounds do not respond to magic. Asher's upper lip quivers. Ella. Be sensible now, you're bleeding all over the upholstery. Here, Oleander, let me try. Be my guest. Oleander moves aside, and you take their place. Kieran, can you make her sleep? Gladly. Kieran gestures, and Asher's eyes slide close, her loud protestations dying on her lip. Blessed silence. Sylvia, would you be so kind as to fetch me a needle and thread from the sewing box? Right away, Your Grace. What mortal tricks have you got up your sleeve now? The Fae by your side watch curiously as you carefully wash your hands and hold the needle in a candle flame to clean it. This wound is too deep to heal naturally on its own. We'll have to stitch it closed to stop the bleeding. You take a steadying breath and carefully suture the wound, while Selma assists you, dabbing away excess blood with a clean cloth. Fascinating. Who knew that one could stitch flesh closed in the same manner as a velvet cushion? Finished, you clean your hands and leave Aster in the care of Selma and Oleander, moving on to the next patient. You continuously impress me with your resourcefulness, beloved. What a stealthy asset you are to my court. It's a simple procedure, and one I'm not terribly practiced at, but please, do go on. What, have your ego grown to rival mine? He chuckles and murmurs close to your ear. I never tire of the looks on the faces of those who underestimate you. Come on, let's go see how many more of the Fae we can impress with my resourcefulness. Kieran puts a hand on your shoulder, speaking so only you can hear. I must gather the court leaders in the banquet hall to discuss our next move. Come with me. You want me there? About time. He gives you a pale imitation of his usual smirk. You wish to learn the inner workings of the court? Good. But Fae politics are a blood sport. You may see a side of me you do not like. You literally used to turn into a beast. I really doubt that. No part of you has scared me yet. But what of the rest of the wounded? Should I... None are in serious danger. Most Fae are simply unused to handling pain for anything longer than a few seconds. We'll take care of it from here, Your Grace. All will be well. You follow Karen into the dining room, where Longclaw, Oleander, and Sir Montgomery are already waiting. Thank you for being here. Obviously, this upstart Jack intends to follow through on his threat and must be crushed swiftly. The Sun Court stands united with you, Prince Kieran, of course. Such a terrible thing. I'd hoped that attack on the mountainside was but an isolated incident. It seems a bit premature to assume that the threat is over, doesn't it? I mean, there's no reason to think. Trail off, realizing everyone at the table is looking at you a bit oddly. It has been over a year since that attack. I do believe we all thought it would end there. A year, but has it truly? It spans trying to recall how you spent the past months, how you could have possibly lost all that time when Kieran speaks gently. Ella, my love, I think you're still adjusting to the way time flows in the Fae realm. Does it ever get easier? I mean, will I... No, not to worry, my dear. You'll grow too used to it in time. What is most concerning is how well such a well-organized force was equally well-equipped to fight against the Fae. Most troubling indeed. Who would have the sheer gall to strike at the Moon Palace with weapons of iron? Certainly no one from my village. Few people there even believe the Fae exist. Even still, they keep to their side of the wall just in case. And that sword, it cleaved clean through the ancient magic of the Moon Court's walls. I don't care who or why. They attacked my home and endangered my family. I will not let this brazen insult go unanswered. We will find this Jack and make an example out of him. It appears Jack has been preparing for this offensive for a long time. Right under your noses. I do not underestimate these humans. It wasn't just human in Jack's army. Some looked Fae, but they had iron weapons. How's that possible? Changelings. Being with both human and Fae blood, iron does not harm them, but many can wield a bit of magic, some quite powerfully. It's no surprise. You've never met one. Part-bloods have not exactly been welcomed with open arms by the courts. And neither are they trusted by humans. Some will harm or even abandon children they only suspect of being changelings. If they do survive to adulthood, they live on the fringes, scorned by both sides of the blood. I didn't think Fae would abandon their children. Humans and Fae could have children. would abandon their children. I knew most Fae looked down on humans, but this... Did they truly hate us so much? I would not call it hate. Many Fae, especially the old guard, see changelings as a crime against nature itself. No wonder they're so angry with the courts. Many folk are. It would honestly not surprise me if there were full-blooded courtless Fae among Jack's number as well. But if Jack has managed to rally humans, changelings, and courtless Fae to his cause, his army could be hundreds strong. It doesn't matter. With the courts of the Sun and Moon ally, the eclipse he threatens will be over before it's begun. Maybe we can solve this without violence. Jack wanted something from you both. What was he talking about? He demands the impossible. There can be no peace if he is after the sources of magic.
I will send the Sun Court's Royal Guard to patrol the grounds in both palaces immediately. If Eclipse moves against us again, we'll be ready.
I shall task the animals friendly to the Moon Court to scour the woods for their tracks. With the wolves on the ground, the birds above, they cannot hide long. I want to help too. Perhaps I could appeal to them as a fellow human. I could act as an emissary between our people, show them how we're trying to dismantle the old prejudices. If I thought it would do any good at all, Ella, I might have considered it. But Jack did not appeal to us with words. He attacked us. He means to force our hand. You saw the way he reacted to you. Do not ask me to send you to the lion's den. I cannot and will not. With all due respect, Your Grace, lacking magic and experiences mean you are too vulnerable to be running around the woods. Your duties are here, Ella. I need you here. I must do something, Kieran. I cannot go planning parties and overseeing palace renovations with my home, my family, under attack and threat. Enough. His voice strikes to your core, the familiar weight of the command laced with a sharp agony of loss. It takes everything you have to hold his gaze. He's scared. Kieran doesn't want me anywhere near this fight. Across the table, old Leander watches you with a sharp, cat-like stare. Kieran gives a curt nod and everyone begins to disperse. Kieran, wait. He hesitates, and you allow the others to leave before speaking. I didn't know humans could have children with Fae. Will I be expected to give you a hair one day? If it happens someday, you will be welcome. But it is not expected of you. Fae children are rare enough that succession seldom relies upon blood. I can just as easily name a successor amongst a member of our court. Which is why filling our ranks with trusted friends and allies is our first priority. You nod and start to follow as he leaves, but then you notice Longclaw lingering by the door, looking fondly back at the empty room. You know, this place is still your home, Longclaw, and you're still family.
I feel the same, dear. I admit I do miss being here with all of you. It was a simpler life, but a happy one. Sometimes when my royal duties feel overwhelming, I miss being a housekeeper.
We miss you just as terribly. I've been trying to teach Kieran to cook with mixed success. Longclaw laughs behind her paws, her eyes shining with mirth.
Oh, how I wish I could have witnessed that strange miracle.
Perhaps you could. Diamond choice. Longclaw, you must stay for dinner. We'll make a night of it. You, me, Sir Monty, just like old times. And we'll put Kieran to work too.
Nothing would delight me more, dear.
That evening, after making sure all the guests are comfortably housed and healing, and Kieran has finished restoring the Moon Court's defenses. What's going on? Where are you taking me? You're such a grump when you're hungry. Wait and see. You usher Kieran towards the kitchen door, where Sir Montgomery and Longclaw are waiting. Kieran narrows his eyes suspiciously at you. After the day we've had, I thought it would be nice to spend some time with old friends. Oh, your highnesses, your grace. The women startle into curtsies and at the sudden appearance of both rulers of the Fae intruding on their dining preparations. Selma, Sylvia, you're officially earned a night off. We'll handle dinner tonight. The women smile at each other with surprised excitement. As you say, my lady, thank you. They rush off. You tie your old apron around your waist and take stock of what they were preparing. All right. Looks like we get a roast with vegetables and a loaf of bread to bake. Longclaw rolls up her sleeves and gets right to work, setting pots to stir themselves and chopping up vegetables with a gesture as if she had never left.
Oh, Sir Monty, butter sauce for the vegetables, if you don't mind. Oh, and your highnesses.
Flustered, she stops as she gets to Kieran, who raises one eyebrow and looks pointedly at you as you laugh. You wear the crown now, Longclaw. Don't forget, you outrank him.
I suppose I do. It's just, my lord, I'm not used to ordering you about.
I'll happily take that over that duty. You are far too delighted about issuing commands to your prince. I think Kieran should slice the onions. He turns a cutting glare towards you, much to Longclaw's confusion. Ella finds it amusing to inflict the onion's poisonous fumes upon me. He huffs, but does as you ask, bringing the onions to the cutting board by the windows while you giggle under your breath. Best hurry if you want to eat. As he passes, he gives a sharp, stinging smack to your ass, hard enough that you yelp. Kieran! He leans in close to whisper in your ear. You'll pay for that later, brat. You press your lips together to suppress a smile that blooms as readily as the warmth of his handprint. Longclaw and Sir Monty work together on the roast, chatting merrily, side by side. I suppose that leaves the bread to me. Be the ruler of all Fae prefer tonight.
Oh, my dear, whatever sounds best to you. This is your kitchen now.
All right, I think I'll give them a taste of my home. I made this bread so often back at the tavern I could do it in my sleep. You gather up just the right herbs to season the bread and set to work making a rustic loaf, your hands kneading the dough just as you've done hundreds of times. Hastened by Longclaw's domestic magic, the rich scents of the freshly baked bread and roasting meat soon fill the kitchen.
Shall we eat in the dining room, your highness?
Kieran looks to Monty and then you before returning to Longclaw. No, let this night be just like our dinners of old. You settle around the table, just big enough for the four of you to eat without the bother of courtly manners. Why, your grace, I dare say this is the most exquisite bread I can remember. Such a hearty crust. Monty, you're too kind. It's a simple village fare. But it does remind me of home, long ago. A cheerful fireside, humble yet happy. Sir Montgomery trails off into a happy memory, savoring every bit. How have things been at the Sun Court as of late, Longclaw? Are they treating you kindly? I should hope so.
It was a bit rough at first. The courtiers were less than pleased when I released the human servants from their bonds. A few stayed willingly, but most returned to their homes if they remembered them. So there's been some grumbling about the slower quality of service. Nothing I can't handle. What matters the most? I've been trying all has been on my attempts to reconcile with Radiance.
Kieran says nothing, only glowers and sips his wine.
I know he has committed monstrous acts to you and Ella, especially. He was just so very young when his uncles began their cruel nonsense. I hope that without their influence, I may regain the brother I miss so dearly.
Of course. No one can resist our long claws charms for long. Failing that, I'm quite sure those fearsome claws help as well, eh?
I would never wish to frighten anyone into good behavior, surely.
She gives you a sly, abashed smile.
Well, not on purpose.
Not even your uncles. You cannot convince me they are at all redeemable. If you wish to frighten the daylights out of them, Longclaw, you have my wholehearted permission. Kieran laughs. Look who's becoming bloodthirsty, my fearsome ally. Do you remind me not to get on your vicious side? You throw your napkin at him and stick out your tongue. Don't tease me. If I am bloodthirsty, it is your bad influence at work. Good. You could do with a bit of corrupting. Verily, it does take a fearsome soul to tame a beast such as Prince Kieran. Kieran's eyes sparkle. They linger on his lips, twisting with a secret, knowing smile. Good sir, I have no intention of ever being tamed. As Sir Monty and Kieran launch in a good-natured argument, Longclaw leans over and whispers,
I confess I've worried over Kieran since moving to the Sun Palace, and you as well. But seeing him happy like this, his old self again, it warms my heart knowing more than you know. I'm grateful to have all of you. I've been alone for so long. It's a dream come true to have found a new family in you and Sir Monty. Sweet girl, we are ever so lucky that you found us.
Longclaw dabs dramatically at her eyes with a napkin. Your Highness, whatever is the matter?
Why, nothing at all.
Longclaw raises her glass, and you all follow suit.
I propose a toast to family.
Hear, hear. Kieran meets your eye warmly as you all clink your glasses together. To family. To family. And so, you and your little family laugh, tell tales, and linger over food and wine until long into the night. The next day, you find Sir Montgomery beneath a tree on the grounds, ravens roosting overhead. How are you faring today, Sir Monty? He sighs, looking every bit his advanced age. To be frank, Your Grace, I find myself rather troubled. Are the ravens dropping twigs on your head again? That earns you a hearty chuckle. No. The new game involves tugging at my beard as they fly past. Though perhaps, like myself, they are angry that I could not do more to defend our prince. But you're only one knight, a valiant one at that, and Kieran can take care of himself. You are too kind, Your Grace, as ever. I fear that whatever happens next will imperil every mortal living within every realm. That it will be the innocent and the powerless who will pay the price of fake quarrels, as they ever do. You take a deep breath, finally giving voice to a question that has long been gnawing at your mind. Sir Monty, can humans learn to wield magic? Yes, but at great cost. Magic is volatile. Human witches and warlocks can rarely wield it for long without being changed in some way. Even Fae become strange if they live too long. Strange like the magpie, with their red foliage and bird-like eyes? Doubtless her curse spurred the change a bit earlier than usual, but yes. Sir Montgomery shakes his head. After a few thousand years, Fae rarely resemble their former selves, but for humans, the effect is magnified. It may take only a decade of wielding magic for a mortal to become something else. I see. So, is this Jack a changeling, you think, or simply a mortal whose magic has twisted him? I cannot say. You're quiet so long that Sir Montgomery gives you a sad, knowing look. To tie oneself to the Fae is to receive great gifts, but we also pay a heavy price, don't we? As wise and powerful as they can be, I do not know if they ever will understand what we go through just to be near them. I just hate feeling so weak. I want to be able to do more, not sit around uselessly waiting for danger to find us again. You've already made impressive progress on your sword play, Ella. That's kind of you to say, Sir Montgomery, but if Eclipse attacks again, I'm not sure I'll be much help. I understand, my lady, truly. I feel quite the same as you. He gazes down at his gnarled ancient hands, lacing knotted fingers together. Though living here has extended my life and my health, I feel my strength waning by the day. Soon I fear I may not be able to help anyone. And Jack, as Sir Monty trails off, you cover his rough hands with your own. What about Jack? He looks distant, as though he did not hear your question. Then he shakes his head. Apologies, Your Grace. You know my memory is not what it once was. But I suspect this Jack has lived a very difficult life, as most outside the courts do. It would explain why he came at us with such hatred. If there's a way we can avoid further hurt on either side. He gazes at you with fond sadness, and his strong, worn hand squeezes yours. The world is rarely gentle to those who are so kind, my lady. It is you who must be the strongest of all. Unfortunately, his words strike very true. The next morning, you startle awake to a sharp, insistent rapping at the door. What? Who? At this hour? You extricate yourself from the sleeping Kieran's arms and shuffle groggily to open the door. Oleander stands before you, impeccably dressed. What are you doing here? It's barely past dawn. They take in your rumpled night clothes and heave a deep, long, suffering sigh. Get dressed. We're short on time, and obviously we have much to do. Time for what, exactly? Time for us to get started, of course. You blink at them, still not fully awake. I'm here to be your teacher, because if you were to face the pack of vicious hyenas, you need to be trained by the best. And honestly, judging by the state of things, we should have started a month ago. So, get dressed. Vicious hyenas, what? Are you training me to fight Eclipse? Don't be ridiculous. I should be training you to face a much deadlier arena. Fey High Society. Well, with that being said, thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down the description of the video. Plenty of things to check out there. Ways to support this channel, and yours truly, as well as to become, basically a part of this family that we have. So there's many ways to do that. With that being said, let me say the following. Once again, thank you all for watching. The world is not very fair or kind to those who are gentle. In my time, in my life, I've watched as those around me, as kind of like Harvey Dent said, right? You either live long enough to see yourself die a hero or become the villain. And I kind of like fight against that on a daily basis to become a villain, I'm going to be honest with you. And it seems like the world is becoming more and more negative and hurtful and full of hate. And it's hard to remain a good person with that doesn't give in to anything, really. I will be honest, and even part of human nature is what I look at it, is we're all born with a good and a bad side, right? And I try and stay on the good side more so than being in the middle. And it is very hard, but I've watched some of those around me actually become consumed by the, negativity and whatnot, and I've had to part ways with some of them. And some people become misguided because, again, you live long enough to where you start thinking that if you do this, or you bend this, or you break this, whatnot, that while you are doing it with good intentions, it ends up being something that's bad. And, yeah. So, I definitely, I definitely know the trials of being a good person, and it's hard. It really is hard. It's a testing thing every single day. It really is. So, Once again, thank you all for watching, and let me know your thoughts down below. I'll catch you all later. Peace out.